The skies over Kathmandu on the morning of September 8, 2025, were heavy with smoke and shouts. Streets that once belonged to vendors and school children had turned into rivers of rage. This was no ordinary gathering. It was the eruption of a generation's long-suppressed fury. At the front lines stood the young, students, unemployed graduates, fresh-faced teenagers clutching Nepal's crimson flag. In their hands were banners that read, "We are not the silent generation," and smartphones that had just been silenced by their own government. The spark? A sweeping ban on more than 24 social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, even YouTube vanished overnight. Officials claimed the crackdown was to curb hate speech, but few believed it. For the youth of Nepal, it was nothing less than an attempt to suffocate dissent. "If they can silence our internet today, tomorrow they will silence our future," shouted a young protester, his voice carried across the crowd like fire on dry grass. But the roots of this uprising dug far deeper than blocked apps. For decades, corruption had corroded the nation's core. Politicians fattened their pockets with false promises, while their children, the so-called Nepo kids, paraded luxury cars and designer clothes on Instagram. To the ordinary young Nepali, barely scraping by, it was a slap in the face. When night fell, the barricades of police buckled under the sheer force of numbers. The Parliament building was set ablaze, flames clawing at the sky. Thousands cheered beneath the inferno's glow. "This is our moment," cried a young woman, her voice breaking but fierce. "This is our revolution." Revolutions, however, come with blood. Tear gas filled the air. Bullets cracked through the smoke, and bodies collapsed onto the pavement. By dawn, 19 young souls had been claimed by the struggle. Then came the shockwave. Within 24 hours, Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli stepped down. Soon after, President Ramchandra Paudel resigned. Nepal's highest seats of power had fallen, not to a coup, not to foreign invaders, but to the voices of its own youth. The world gasped. Headlines screamed across continents, like "Gen Z brings Nepal to its knees." The United Nations called for calm, while neighboring powers watched uneasily. Yet in the streets of Kathmandu, there was no triumphant celebration. Protesters sat on the still warm asphalt, holding each other's hands as the fire smoldered behind them. Their faces carried not only pride, but a question. Was this the dawn of change, or merely another chapter in Nepal's endless cycle of betrayal? One thing was clear. Nepal had entered a new era. The voices of its young would never again be silenced. The Gen Z revolution was more than a protest. It was a thunderclap to the world, a warning that when injustice festers too long, an entire generation can rise and shake the throne of power itself.